Hey everybody, and welcome to another Bree Book Reviews video. So I will be pre-recording a lot of videos today. Today's video is going to be another tag. I was not tagged to do this. I recently found some more booktubers that I am really enjoying watching videos from. One of them being Super Space Chicks. She's really cool. She loves manga as well, and so she always hauls both books and manga, which is what I love to do too. So I've been really enjoying watching her stuff. So I saw her do this tag very recently and decided, why not? It's fall time. Technically not fall time where I am because it's still like 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so you know, who knows when fall will really be for me. So, but it's still technically the fall season. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the tag. So I saw it from her, but the original tag is from Sam, from Sam's Nonsense, and I also really love her channel. She loves to read fantasy, and fantasy is the biggest genre that I read besides manga and or sci-fi. So yes, of course, anybody who reads a lot of fantasy is somebody that I'm going to watch a lot of videos from. There are questions that are related to fall seasonal stuff and then books that correlate to those questions. So without further ado, let's go ahead with the tag. The first one is Crunching Leaves. The world is full of color. Choose a book that has reds, oranges, and yellows on the cover. And for that one, I chose Flamecaster by Cinda Williams Chima. This is the first book in her newest fantasy series, the Shattered Realms series, set in the same world, I believe, as the Seven Realms series, and I have not started this yet, although I have read Seven Realms. I read it last year and it was fantastic. And I have her other series, the Warrior Heir series. Well, I have the first couple books. I have not started that one. I've been considering reading that one first before I get to this one, but I'm not sure because the other series I think is not set in the same world. I love that world and I'm interested in seeing more about it. I love this cover because it has all of those colors. All of her books are usually really beautiful covers. Question number 2, a cozy sweater. It's finally cold enough to don warm, cozy clothing. What book gives you the warm fuzzies? For this one, I wanted to go with a manga, and I chose Toradora, story by Yuyuko Takemiya and art by Zakyo, and this is well, it's actually a shonen romance, and it is about these two characters here. They both have crushes on each other's best friends, and they find out and kind of help each other try to get their friends to fall in love with them, and in the process they fall in love with each other, and it's just like the sweetest story in the world, and I love it so much. It's so cute, and the art style is also super cute. It's just one of those warm, fuzzy slice of life stories that just melt your heart. Question number 3 is Fall Storm. The wind is howling and the rain is pounding. Choose your favorite book or genre that you like to read on a stormy day. So there isn't a particular book that I like to read when it's raining out, but usually when it's rainy and or I'm sick, fantasy is the way that I like to go. I'm a fantasy reader year-round, but when I'm really sick, I just want to cozy up with a fantasy book and get lost in the world. So I don't choose any particular book, just fantasy genre. The next question is Cool Crisp Air. What's the coolest character you'd want to trade places with? It took me a while to think about this because there are a lot of characters that I love and I think are just the coolest characters, but the world that they live in is not the greatest, and I wouldn't say I'd want to trade places with them. So after going through all of my shelves and kind of like debating which one I think would be the best answer, I decided to go with the Doctor from Doctor Who. This is just one of the novels that I have. This particular novel is about the 11th Doctor. I have a few smaller short books about all the other Doctors, and then I have another one of this from this collection about the 10th Doctor. The 10th Doctor is my favorite, and then the 11th is my second favorite. But anyways, the Doctor basically goes around in his TARDIS and goes back and forth in different times and different dimensions, and he just has the most adventurous fun times. Sometimes it's not so fun, but for the most part he has like a lot of fun, and it just sounds so cool to be able to travel through time and space, and I would love to trade places with him and also be a Time Lord. Then we have Hot Apple Cider. What underhyped book do you want to see become the next biggest, hottest thing? Recently, Jay Kristoff has become a lot more popular of an author, with him co-writing the Illuminae series and with his newest book, Nevernight. But one of his best works to me would have to be his Lotus War trilogy. This is Storm Dancer, and I got this entire trilogy last year. I reread this actually last week, and it was amazing, and I think that this could be the next best thing. In fact, I reread it and was just thinking to myself, if they could adapt this into an anime, it would make a really phenomenal anime. This is set in a feudal Japan with like steampunk elements to it, and it's just so fantastic. And what I really, really like about this book that some people might not like, but I like it just because I'm into anime and into the Japanese language, is it utilizes a lot of Japanese language in it. So if you're not familiar with Japanese, it might get a little bit annoying because there is a glossary on the back, but I wouldn't want to like be reading it and have to go flipping through the back of the book every few pages. So it does use a lot of Japanese words, but you don't really need to understand the word's meaning. You kind of get the meaning from the context of the rest of what they're talking about, so I don't mind it. Plus I know what the words mean, most of them. Again, especially since he's becoming way more noticed now, so people might start getting into some of his older books. I highly recommend this trilogy, and I will be continuing this series because this is the second time I've read this, but I have not continued with the trilogy, and I plan on doing it. Also, can we talk about this cover? Because it's just gorgeous. Then we have coats, scarves, and mittens. The weather has turned cold and it's time to cover up. What's the most embarrassing book cover you own that you like to keep hidden in public? I mean, I don't really have any covers that I'm embarrassed about. I used to own a lot of yaoi, and not that I'm embarrassed to own yaoi. I love yaoi and I still read it online, but it's some of the titles were super embarrassing, like very sexualized titles. So those ones I didn't really like to show because I'm just a very conservative person when it comes to that. I'm trying to think of some titles, but like honestly my mind's going blank right now. But if you are a yaoi reader, you know some of those titles. Some of those titles are like, okay buddy, yeah, I know what I'm about to get into. But if I had to pick one that I actually still own, I would say I would probably hide Twilight, just because I do own this book still, and it's not even the best book series to me in the world. I kind of hate it. Sort of. I have nostalgic feelings towards it because it is one of the books that got me into reading YA and reading more in general other than Harry Potter. It sits at the very bottom of this shelf. Well, not the very bottom, but towards the bottom of this shelf. It's not predominantly like, Twilight in your face, but I do still have it, which I'm not terribly embarrassed to own. I do still like the fact that it got me back into reading, and I love having it on my shelf because of that. Pumpkin spice. What's your favorite fall-time comfort food? Pumpkin anything. I am hella basic, and I'm not afraid to be that way because pumpkin's amazing and I love it. So, you have a problem with that? Then we have a problem because pumpkin's amazing. Finally, warm, cozy bonfire. Spread the cozy warmth. Who do you tag? So I'm not going to tag anyone in particular. I don't know how long this tag has been around. I want to say it's been a few years, so I'm sure that there have been people who have already done this tag. So yeah, if you haven't done it, if you feel like doing it, please, I tag you, you are tagged. And as always, if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!